On Radio 97, we are talking law with Despina Priala. If you have a legal question, and there's always legal questions to be answered, this is the place for that. And if you do have that question, pop it to us, perhaps in an email or through Facebook. The best way to do it, just go to radio97.com.au, and there are a couple of ways of contacting us there. Put your question to Despina, and happy to feature it in a future program. radio97.com.au.
Thank you, Wayno. And this particular court case, not here in Australia, but we have spoken about emojis a little bit on Talking Law. But this recent court case in Canada, Despina, is so interesting. And it's all about the thumbs up emoji. Can you talk us through what happened?
It is. And this is a fascinating case. And Canada is a Commonwealth country, as is Australia. So that's my interest was particularly drawn to this case. And we have had a case in Australia. We reported on that about 2 years ago on my YouTube channel. I think it's episode 29. And we talked about Australia's first emoji case. So this is a case that's come out of Canada. It's in the Canadian Superior Court. Wow. So it's not an inferior court, it's a superior court. And the ruling was that a thumbs up emoji, which we all know what a thumbs up emoji is, and we often use it. I often use it in text messages with friends, not with clients, but that was considered an acceptance of a contract and its terms. So the contract was found to be binding on the parties with a thumbs up.
So that's all you need. It's just a thumbs up. That's it. You're in the contract. Well done.
Whoa.
Congratulations.
Well, it's not as simple as that.
Okay.
As is always the case with law, and it always will turn on the facts and circumstances, just like this particular case. And that's why I read it and I thought, wow, this is really interesting. And I'm going to read some things about what the court said about moving with the times and technology, because we might very well see this happening more and more in Australia as well.
Yep.
As we all are continuing to use our iPhones, we're continuing to text messages as a way of communication. And why is that? I can only speak for myself. I don't use it with clients particularly, but when we're all leading very busy lives and we're trying to do all and sundry, and that's not always the best thing for us either. I'm trying to do 10 things at once, etc. Particularly women do. We multitask. We're doing thumbs up here and thank you emojis and all this sorts of business that you do with phones. So let's look at the case. So it was a case of two parties that had been, in contractual relationships before, where one party was ordering a particular supply of flax. I think they were cattle farmers. So they were ordering a particular item from a supplier, and they had prior relationships. Now, that was very important for the court in this determination. And I've always said it'll always turn on the individual facts and circumstances of each case. So you couldn't just take this case, start a relationship with someone and just do an emoji, go thumbs up and, yes, I've locked you in. Yeah. This was very much based on the prior relationship. And the prior relationship between the supplier and the consumer was very much a text message type of relationship where previously orders were made. And, there's responses with the word yup and looks good and okay. So
very casual.
Yeah.
Very, very casual. And the court mentioned that. And the court said, and it really indicated that had there not been this prior relationship of text messages back and forth, say looks good, okay, yep, they probably wouldn't have considered an emoji thumbs up as this is acceptance of contractual terms and the contract that is actually binding on the parties. So it does come down to your conduct. So always remember that when you get into a dispute with someone, it's always your prior conduct will always come into play. It will always be a relevant factor. So then you always should think about that when you're actually in the moment, doing the conduct.
Yeah, even the context as well, because thumbs up could even be a little bit sarcastic. If someone says something that you're not too fond of, you could be like, yep, whatever, and send a thumbs up. So that context is completely different. So it's circumstantial.
Yes, that's right. So when you're trying to form contractual relationships with parties, there has to be a meeting of the minds. And lawyers, as we are, know that. And it's called consensus ad idem, if you want to really get down to the Latin phrase. But it's a meeting of the minds. So you have to have that. And the court said, well, there was a meeting of the minds because of the prior conduct and the relationship and how they communicated. And the thumbs up in this context was very much could be and was accepted as, I'm accepting the terms of this particular contract, and you need to supply what you ordered and you need to pay what you ordered for. So that was very much so. But I thought I'd mention some things from the case which might be of interest to some people. So they actually went to the dictionary of what the definition of emoji, so emojibydictionary.com, which is a thing, apparently.
Yeah.
And it said that a thumbs up emoji is used to express assent, approval, or encouragement in digital communications. So there you go. So don't just loosely use your thumbs up emoji, right?
No, I won't do anymore.
Very careful with that, yeah.
Exactly. And if you want to know what an emoji may mean, you can go to emojibydictionary.com and see what the definition was, because the court actually went to this website and used the definition here in their determination, which I thought was really interesting. So,
well, as we move more and more and do this sort of communication, and even this shorthand style of communication through, through text and Twitter and all that sort of thing, are we going to see more of this?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And some people might say, well, this is really opening up the floodgates, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you're going to accept an emoji, geez, what's next?
Well,
I mean, what's the next emoji to be accepted?
GIFs is another form of communication that you can use on your phone as well as like messenger apps. And
exactly.
They're just little pictures.
Yep.
Sometimes they have a word in them, but they could just be a photo of someone doing something. And people use that as communication now. So it really, it's a floodgate situation.
And I think there's an emoji with a love heart where you've got handshakes. So that means, we shake on it, like we've agreed. What about that type of emoji?
A law suitable emoji.
Exactly. No wonder there's an emoji by dictionary.com. I think we have to have that in this day and age. But the court also said, because one of the parties said, look, we're concerned that you're going to open up the floodgates here, Superior Court, by making this decision. And the court acknowledged that whilst this was a bit novel, right, so there's not a lot of cases out there in the world about this, the court decided it could not, nor should it attempt to stem the tide of technology and common usage by denying the meaning of the emoji in communications. That was from the court case.
Wow.
So how about that? So they're not going to stem the tide of technology. Far be it for them to do that in our modern day age that we live in, with technology and emojis and text messages, etc. But they did say it appears to be the new reality in Canadian society. That's what it said. And the courts will have to be ready to meet these new challenges that may arise from the use of emojis. So that's from a Superior Court in Canada.
And it's coming our way. It's coming our way too. And undoubtedly we'll see more of it in Australia too.
Oh, I think so. I think that because this has been determined in a Superior Court in Canada, certainly if there was a case in Australia, if one was arguing that an emoji was an acceptance of something to bind people to a contract, someone could use this particular case. But again, it very much depends on your facts and circumstances. So again, bringing home to people updates in the law around the world, which is what we do here as well, other than local laws. And that's why we love the show. But the message very much is be careful of your use of emojis in communication, always.
Always. Thank you so much, Despina. If anyone does want to get in touch with you directly with a question or query, where can they go?
So they can phone the office 55291 294. They can email info@prialalegal.com.au. And I will have these up on YouTube again later in the week.
Thank you so much, Despina and Wayne.
Yep, we'll see you next week.
See you then, guys.
Are you confused about legal jargon? Do you need legal advice but don't know where to turn? Tune in to Talking Law with Despina Priala every Thursday morning at 8:30 on Radio 97. Despina, a leading lawyer with over 20 years of experience, will demystify the law and provide practical advice to help you navigate legal issues. Whether it's a family matter, a property dispute, or a business concern, Talking Law has got you covered. Don't miss out on this valuable resource. Tune in to Talking Law with Despina Priala every Thursday morning at 8:30 on Radio 97.